Hello everybody, welcome to another Kong stream. Bright and early this time, for me anyway, not for the competitors. This time we are going to be watching SaintJacques versus MeowSensei in the Summit der Langrisser top 8. We're actually in the quarterfinals now. So the winner of SaintJacques and MeowSensei will end up fighting against Maebari in the top 4. So we are down to the final few very strong competitors now, and I'm just waiting for both of the competitors to log in. I believe I have... SaintJacques is playing on Moondoggy's account, and I believe I have him added as a friend. So as soon as I see him show up, I'll know we're ready to roll. So in the meantime, what I'm going to go ahead and do is get my links posted, and I'll be right back. Alright, that didn't take long. And I see Moondoggy's account is online, so I believe they're just adding friend requests, and then they will be able to play. Dreadful Cobra, Ace Knight, welcome to the chat. Getting front row seats for this battle. This one is pretty exciting because we watched SaintJacques play in an earlier round. We know he's a very strong player, and we know he has access to a strong account in Moondoggy. And MeowSensei, we have seen play before. I haven't personally streamed him during this Summit der Langrisser, but I have streamed some of his matches before. And he's also a very strong player, a very interesting strategic player. He doesn't always play the most normal boxes. Sometimes he likes to switch things up. He's a very big fan of... He's a very big fan of dark units in general. I know he plays on his multiple accounts for climbing and ladder. But for tournament settings, he usually keeps it pretty normal with the addition of a couple little flare units. Like, for example, he really enjoys Omega. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see Omega in here. So let's go ahead and load in to this battle that is just getting started here now. Mistress of Bully, hello. Welcome to the chat, and everyone feel free to let me know if there are any weird sound issues. I believe I finally got those ironed out after starting streaming on my new monitor, so there should not be any more little Mr. Kong echo. And yeah, let me know if you can hear me okay. You should be able to hear me okay at this point. So there, sure enough, we do see Meow has Omega in the box. He also has Kyra. Everyone else is pretty standard looking. Very interesting that they drew the floating courtyard as the first map, because that is one of the very few maps that kind of changes strategies a little bit, just because it is so limited in terms of the space that you can go. It does give a bit of an advantage to flying units, because they can cross these gaps in the middle without being hindered, or they can go hang out there. But yeah, having only a couple of lanes for your terrain-based units increases McLean stonks a bit as well. So Moondoggy's box is pretty normal as well. There's an Oboro in there, which you don't see in every box, but he is still strong. We also have a Grenshiel. Grenshiel, brand new unit as of last week, not this week. So a lot of players still have her not fully starred up, although I would not be surprised if SaintJacques has access to quite a strong one on Moondoggy's account. So SaintJacques opting to ban out all of MeowSensei's true tanks early. So with the strong Z2 first ban and then focusing on both the tanks, MeowSensei is going to be stuck going with a fully aggressive DPS box, which is probably fine. I think that suits Meow just fine. Meow also mirroring that Z2 ban. Both players are able to get the next best DPS in their boxes, which is Gintoki on both sides. Meow going to pick up Polyol next, which is interesting. It's not the best map for Polyol, just because she only has a couple of places that she can zip to. Normally, if you have a lot more options for her big charge, you can kind of open up a lane with her tiles boosting your mobility. This map's not exactly bad for her, it just kind of settles where you're going to be trying to plant your tiles. And you also don't really need to use her for a big line of tiles either, you can just do a big AoE bomb with her. So Meow bans out the Watham here. He has a great advantage on this map because he can fly, which means he can go across these sky tiles in the middle without being hindered. Meow also banning the Sissy White because she combos nicely with Gintoki, so he doesn't want SaintJacques to have access to a Gintoki and then double Act Again healer. Double Act Again in the sense that she can cast Act Again, and she can also sack one of her little summons. So Meow also running pretty low on backup time during the pick and ban here. Trying to decide which of SaintJacques' units he wants to ban out. So he bans out the enemy Polyol because he doesn't want SaintJacques to be able to counter Explode or to overwrite his own tiles. So as long as he gets rid of SaintJacques' McLean, then he's going to be the sole controller of tiles on this map. Polyol should also have the ability to race Grenshield's shield tile and Annie's portal tiles. But Meow is not going to hyper-focus on that issue of tiles, so he is ignoring McLean for a ban there. Instead, he's banning out the IBC, who can boost the Gintoki. Also banning out the D-Heart, who is a long-range, long-leg guard-ignore unit. SaintJacques does take this opportunity to pick up McLean, though, so we may see some counter-tile play from SaintJacques. He also has guard ignore as well, in case MeowSensei decides to get cute and bring guard skill on Polyol, for example. And then SaintJacques leaves him with two healers dangling at the end here, so MeowSensei just picks up the one that has the most utility for him, which is Liana's Act Again. And SaintJacques gonna go ahead with Oboro to hang out, build him up. Once he transforms, he's good on this map too because he can go anywhere, he has good range. And since he doesn't really need to worry about a real tank on MeowSensei's side, he can get away with transforming a turn early if he has that opportunity. So SaintJacques' comp is a little bit more defensive here, just in the sense that Oboro takes a couple turns to charge up, and McLean has some slowdown tile control. So if he does kind of try to pelt this area with tiles and time it well enough that Polyol doesn't just erase those tiles, it can slow down the pace of the match a little bit. It'll allow SaintJacques to spread out into the mid. MeowSensei on his side has a bit more of an aggressive box. Omega obviously likes distance, but he is able to run in and pick off a unit and then teleport back. Polyol also able to open up a lane that increases mobility for the rest of the team. So that's something that we may see MeowSensei trying to make the first jump and find some space to be able to get in on SaintJacques and start picking off his units. So he's got Mass Attack, an AoE, and Reaper on the Lucretia. This Lucretia might be the best way of getting rid of the enemy Gintoki. I guess he has his own Gintoki as well, so we'll see what the guard situation's like on the other side. So he did bring the guard skill on his Polyol. And he's got the double act again set up on his Omega. Very standard. We've got a Sky Archer here, which is presumably going to be Gintoki food, and we've also got Gospel. So actually no healing on Liana. This is a full utility Liana with immunity to debuffs, act again, and then a Gintoki act again, we'll call that. So for SaintJacques' side, he's got these beautiful War Falcons. He brought the ranged attack on Grenshiel. Actually, let's take a look for those in the know. What star level is Moondoggy's Grenshiel? %. Is that a 6-star Grenshiel? Interesting. Yeah, you're right, Hale. It's an interesting choice. I mean, even the other physical unit is going to have a guard ignore up some of the time, McLean here. Annie, of course, brings her single target skills, and that's going to be primarily focused on busting this Gin. She did bring Fireball, so that's double useful against this double infantry unit. Yeah, I suppose the point of the guard on Polyol is really just to establish a position and allow her to eat one hit from Gintoki. That's pretty much the main thing. I hear a crying Doberman upstairs. Alright, while we're in the opening stages of this fight, interesting that McLean decided to tile down right away. So the one thing that does do is it prevents the Polyol from getting right down into the midst of the tiles to do her explosion to clear those all right away. But depending on what Meow wants to do, like he could charge down this line to clear the tiles in line. Yeah, he might just be waiting to see what McLean does with the rest of his tiles before he commits to an alley. And yeah, also an interesting point, no Leviathans on his Omega. We've seen Meow love to slap Leviathans on Omega versus McLean in the past. He's a seasoned Omega user though, so I don't know if that's a mistake or if he has something up his sleeve there. I will be right back when I see what the Doberman situation is. The only reason I'm checking them with a little bit more vigilance is because on Monday, Applesauce got spayed, so she's recovering. She's in her little suit, and Donut's up there watching over her. But sometimes when she's not woozy from drugs, she still thinks she's her old self and tries to provoke wrestling matches, which is not the greatest thing for recovery. So it doesn't look like we missed too much other than just opening jockeying for positions, which makes sense. She's able to drop her shield tile on Sky, right? So she, Grenshiel is still going to be able to mess with this Polyol Guard situation, if that was the plan. I have a 4-star Grenshiel, but I have not used her. I haven't boxed her yet. Maybe she can't put it in the sky. I would assume she can, because it's just a tile. Like, I don't think it needs to be considered flying or anything. But yeah, my point is, having not boxed her, she's someone who the intricacies of her mechanics I'm not going to be super familiar with. Yeah, that makes sense, Nonsense Bearer. It's just going to be a tile. So, I mean, with her flying, she also obviously has the ability to approach a little bit more easily. And now we see Annie putting down tiles, and SaintJacques is starting to get a pretty nice big base of tile control here. It's going to be difficult for Polyol to clear everything. So MeowSensei is going to really have to decide where he wants Polyol's charge to go. Ideally, he wants it to be something that can help clear some annoying tiles to help him get into the center so he doesn't get slowed down and blocked out. But also, obviously, you want Polyol to do a bunch of damage with that move as well. It's not purely for utility. So these tiles are going to be somewhat annoying for this Omega getting picks as well. SaintJacques can try to stay safe until he needs to, for example, port in and blast someone and then port back out. So that's the end of turn 1. Let's see how turn 2, how the opening moves of turn 2 go, and see if we're going to start seeing people eating some damage here now. So Annie, for example, can she can go up and hit someone. Actually, if she's like here, can she reach? What's her actual range? Yeah, she should be able to reach that. She should be able to reach with a single target. Okay, so Meow is actually going to open the proceedings with Lucretia being pulled forward by the Golem. If she wants to hit with single target, she's going to have to move out of the Golem's revive range, which she does. Okay, so obviously Meow identifies a threat there, willing to trade a Lucretia life for an Annie life. Annie, being magic, is one of the units who can get around this Polyol Guard. Obviously, also one of the units that can take out his Gintoki. But SaintJacques also has access to a Gintoki as well. The other downside of killing from right beside the portal here is if SaintJacques does want to kind of take that bait and claim his side of this trade, he can kill the Lucretia from here and then portal back, so he doesn't have to overcommit anything or expose anything. It's nice if you leave a unit out that you're expecting to die, if you're also able to kind of like goad the enemy to come in a little bit closer so that you can kill whoever they killed your killed unit with. Yeah, Nonsense Bearer, I mean, SaintJacques may still do that, but strategically it benefits him more to end his turn with Oboro first, because he knows he's doing that anyway, so it doesn't actually cost him anything to do that. Usually you want to use your most useless actions earlier in the turn to kind of keep your cards closer to your chest and be able to execute, like, when you actually are going to do actions, that the enemy has fewer units available to counter your actions with. So, I mean, one action that Meow could take would be just to move Polyol here and put Lucretia under physical guard. But that does open her up to Grenshiel's guard ignoring as well. So instead, it looks like SaintJacques is going to take this Lucretia from the portal and beam back, just like I was saying earlier. It's kind of an easy take for him, because he gets the kill, but he doesn't have to expose the Gintoki. So Gintoki is back with the rest of the team. Easy, waiting for next time. Even with Annie dead, those portals still offering utility. So that really was just basically a 1 for 0.9 trade. Well, really a 1 for 1 for MeowSensei, because there's still utility on the map for both sides. SaintJacques still benefiting from Annie's portals. MeowSensei still benefiting from having the golem on the board. Alright, McLean dropping the rest of his tiles. So he only has tiles now from his Act Again move. He does also get access to his Guard Ignore, so if he wants, he can kill Omega with Guard Ignore next turn, because he'll be able to reach with his Act Again, and it doesn't really matter that Polyol is guarding. Meow's Gintoki catches a breeze there. So yeah, SaintJacques going to need to act here. This Gintoki can reach SaintJacques' Gintoki this turn if the Sky Archer kills itself. So if Gintoki is Meow's main target there, that could be a move that we see. So interestingly, SaintJacques goes ahead and uses the Guard Ignore, the tile, locking down Polyol completely here. So she actually is stuck there unless she wants to use her AoE to charge forward. But that seems like a lot of resources spent on... Oh, I guess Gintoki got his Act Again already this turn. Or he just, yeah, he's gonna have to get an actual, like, real, old-fashioned Act Again from Liana to pull that move. So I think Gintoki's the best target for this Gintoki here. Oh no, he has McLean tiles, so he can't reach. From a pure mobility standpoint, he can reach, but those McLean tiles, he didn't clear them yet with Polyol, so he can't reach. Might as well go after Grenshiel. That's a pretty bulky Grenshiel, actually. Yeah, you're right, Loomis. I think too many of Meow's weapons are useless now. The Act Again is already down. The Gintoki's popped. Polyol's blocked out, Omega's gone. Polyol has to waste her charge just to, like, finish off this Grenshiel, and Meow gets no tile utility from it whatsoever. So, SaintJacques still has a nice Gintoki, who can be used against Meow's Gintoki. He does have a Guard Ignore. He does have Oboro, who will eventually be a charged up super strong Guard Ignore. I mean, I guess the only thing kind of keeping Meow in this match is that Polyol's going to have to eat a couple lives, but Gintoki's not really going to have a problem eating through those lives. In fact, we should see the first one go through right here. So SaintJacques really with the pressure on here now. And Meow really can't even get in to reach this Gintoki without moving Polyol, who's totally crippled and no longer guarding. No AoEs, she used her charge. Yeah, that may be it. That may be it, Straw, based on the way he was positioning earlier on in the match, with that open space below Polyol. It's interesting to see at least a couple people make that assumption, like assuming that you couldn't place the sword on a sky tile. It's, I mean, I guess if you haven't used her at all, your instinct might be that it works like a Watham sword, where it's an actual unit. But if that's what it was, it cost Meow. So Polyol's totally gone. Basically all we have here is a Gintoki with a couple of little enablers, you know, with some Act Again fodder. And SaintJacques is just hiding nice and content here down with his portal beside a bunch of tiles. There's really no way for Meow to win this one now. Basically a Gintoki against 3 strong DPS units. Yeah, other than pick and ban, a couple little tweaks that Meow could have made were bringing the Leviathans on Omega. That would have definitely helped against this. McLean basically kept Meow's entire team boxed into this corner here, and they had to wait to be killed one by one. Omega would have at least stretched out Meow's reach a little bit, his threat range, like Straw is saying in the chat. Also, the guard on Polyol I don't think was exactly too beneficial. Too many units here didn't really pay attention to her guard. Having more AoE, not like Meow had the opportunity to use it, but having more follow-up AoE on Meow's side. Instead of opening with a single-target Lucretia pick, he would have been able to position so that he was able to open with a giant Polyol explosion instead, which would have helped enable the rest of his team to come in on more favorable terms. Yeah, that would be fine, Straw, if it actually worked. I mean, even in practice, when Grenshiel moved in, she killed the unit she was there that she wanted to kill. She just had to shut down Now, I get to your point earlier. You said if Meow had known about the Gren shield going on the sky tile, he might have positioned a little bit differently to make that less of an option for SaintJacques. SaintJacques has nothing to do now but wait patiently to be able to grab a kill on this Gintoki. MeowSensei keeping the Gintoki protected with his expendable units here now. Strond Loomis in the chat discussing the benefits of the other troops on Omega. It would have allowed Meow to open up with Omega sniping Annie instead of Luke. This saves Luke to kill Oboro later on. So Meow digging deep into his strategic pockets here now to figure out a way to get through this comp here. So he's slowly moving up, getting himself into position to be able to take out the enemy Gintoki here. But the problem is, as Loomis said much earlier, is that Oboro can just sweep at this point. Which he looks like he's ready to do now. And one benefit of hopping in with two big beefy DPS like this is that you can just go right in with one, and if it doesn't fully kill, you have another one. There's no like other DPS follow-up on Meow's side. He's already used his act again. I guess he could sack. It looks like the golem is in position to be sacked, but that only works if Gintoki's alive to take his action. Which is not currently the case. So yeah, Meow not going to be able to take out those two last units with Liana. Let's see if Pick and Ban goes differently for round 2. Alright, and it sounds like the Doberman crying from upstairs has subsided for now, so either Applesauce managed to find a nice spot to relax and is being comforted by Donut, or she's finally succumbed to her injuries. I'll find out after this match. One or the other. So it looks like we are going to have Meow as player 1 again, which makes sense, as he would have been given the opportunity to choose as the loser if he wants P1 or P2. Definitely wants P1 with this box, but the question is either player going to change their box? Are we going to go into the backup box? Yeah, that sounded more like wrestling noises than dying noises. To be honest, I wouldn't expect MeowSensei to change his box, because this is a pretty good player 1 box. The only question would be is if SaintJacques wants to bring in something a little bit more defensive or something map-focused here. But there's not really any unit who really excels on the desert map over others. So I would kind of expect only minor changes even to Moondoggy's box. Okay, I was super wrong. Yeah, he does go with a more defensive box. He brings in a tank and a couple of healers. That's the adjustment you usually see for player 2 in these kinds of matchups. Meow dropping Rosenseal makes sense. He got really hooked with 2 healers as last pick last time, and he doesn't like that. Dropping Omega, though, is interesting. He brings up his own Oboro, and he brings up a tank, too, so be interesting to see how this pick and ban plays out for him. I would have expected more straight-up offensive, aggressive units for him here. Like, ditch the Christie and keep Omega in. So both players going for that first ban Z2, just like we saw in Game 1. It's a ban that totally makes sense. She's a strong unit that combos off a lot of other units, good for a lot of different playstyles. And on this map, like I said, there's no like other unit that you prefer snap first banning instead. Alright, Meow gonna bring out the first pick Oboro. So he goes into the backup box, brings Oboro out. And now he's gonna rely on him to carry the team. Absol really not liking the 2 tank, 2 healer setup. So this does allow SaintJacques to ban out the Holy Trinity, Z2, Gintoki, and Lightbringer all gone. Meow is going to basically end up with Oboro as his main DPS. And then whatever can prevent SaintJacques from getting in to kill that Gintoki in time. Not Gintoki, Oboro. SaintJacques matching with his own Oboro? I don't know. The Oboe versus Oboe battles of yore. Two tank, 2 healers is a bait, maybe for the player who's boxing them. There's like some kind of weird psychological strategic bait to putting them in your box. But I kind of agree with Absol, it's not exactly a bait for the opponent. Dreadful Cobra taking notes. Well, like Straw has been saying all along, one of the nice things about the Summit der Langrisser for people like Dreadful Cobra is exactly that, taking notes. It's great not only to play, but I suspect most of us aren't in the top 8 anymore, so it's great to watch these matches between excellent players and take some notes and learn some lessons, adapt some things to our own play. So MeowSensei getting that tank out early, and it really looks like he's going to be going for some kind of protect the Oboro strategy here. SaintJacques' second pick's Act Again Healer, and that will at least speed up his own Oboro's transformation, which may give him a little bit of an advantage in the Oboro arms race. Thank you for the follow, Avarita. Enjoy your Seal Guardian. Yeah, Avarita, it's a very odd time for me to be streaming. Oh, and welcome to the chat, Get Leo Becht. Someone's a Leo Beck fan. Yeah, it's an odd time for me to be streaming. It's early in the morning for me, but no one had picked up this match yet, so I figured I could get up and do it. And all I have to show for it is Angry Dobermans, but that's fine. They'll live. Absol just being subjected to interviews in the chat here now. Okay, MeowSensei also supplementing his lineup with a lot of magic. Sorry, I haven't eaten or dranken anything yet this morning. I just rolled out of bed and started streaming. While they're setting up soldier selections, I may go double check the Dobermans and grab a drink. So yeah, I was going to say either last pick here seems fine for Meow. McLean doesn't really stop any of these units with terrain. Oboro's just going to be flying, Grenshiel's flying, Lostum can hook. He has a surprising generosity of places to hook to on this map, as we have seen Loomis use in the matches that we covered from him earlier on in this tournament. And of course we have the teleport portals from Annie as well, so Lostum ends up being a stronger pick than McLean here. But yeah, it looks like the real purpose of this Hilda is not going to be to play any kind of, like, true tanky style, because there's no healing going on here. It's really just to open up space to be able to move up semi-safely, like what Straw was saying Meow probably should have done in the first game with his Polyol on guard. So move up, hopefully clash with SaintJacques' team before Oboro has a chance to transform and become a full guard-ignoring unit. You've got some rangy magical damage here, though, and SaintJacques only has a physical guard in Grenshiel, if he even decides to bring that skill, which, to be perfectly frank, I doubt he will, given the lineup here on this side. So creep into position using Hilda defensively, and use your long-range mages and your Lostum to try to pick off these unguarded units as you move in. Alright, once more, while they're setting up, I'll be back to check out skills and such. Oh no, it just started. Oh, I'm gonna have to do this thirsty. Alright, let's do it thirsty. So we do have a double single target Lucretia with mass attack. That makes total sense. And we've got Air Slash on the Lostum because he doesn't need to worry about ignoring guard. As far as we know, we've got double single target on Annie as well. And yeah, sure enough, no need to bring the guard skill on Gren. We've got an act again on this Annie. Alright, well, one thing is for sure, they're going to take the first turn to jockey into position. So I'm going to grab my water now and make sure Applesauce is still alive, and I will be back in... Alright, I'm back, and it looks like I already missed the highlight from this battle. I can't imagine any reason that would be intentional, but it looks like he reflexively just stood with his Oboro rather than activating the transform skill. Yeah, Straw. I can understand how that happens because you're so used to Oboro just, like, ending his turn to transform, but you had to move into position there to do it. That's going to be frustrating. So he's already at a disadvantage in terms of Oboro's transformation timer because of this act again from SaintJacques. Now he's going to be 2 turns beside on the transformation. Aside from the disadvantage on the Oboro timer, I actually think Meow had a decent composition to move in and do some damage here, so that kind of takes away that nice advantage that he may or may not have had. Hopefully that doesn't enrage him. Alright, we've got dueling portals in mid here. Oh, Meow with the So Dead sticker. And SaintJacques. SaintJacques, I know, is a sticker enjoyer for sure. Oh yeah, that's a large mobility Grand Shield. So she is going to be able to get in and pop her shield right down on Hilda if she wants. Hilda's also stuck between these pillars. Which reduces her ability to move away from the shield. Yeah, Gren's gonna come in now. That Hilda is stuck. Blossom certainly should be dead to Gren. It's the only real target at this point. Okay. Opting to cripple Lucretia by killing the Golem instead. And then getting the jump. I guess he can do this now, since this Lostum's not being guarded, so he can just 3C it. Oh, barely misses that kill, though. Claws his way back to a nice defensive position here. Yep, picked up the old damage dealt. I'd say this is certainly within 20% range, 93 hit points. But now MeowSensei really under fire. No Golem, Hilda not guarding, lost him, basically dead. Gren Shield shielded. Lost him on terrain. Yeah, is that the play, Sui? Stun this Gren Shield? I mean, he's in the position now where Whatever he does. Yeah, I think he has to stun first, just because this lost him is dead regardless. Is she immune? She would have to be immune via equipment. Is she immune from that shield? Oh, that's pretty nice. Well, Meow's lost him gets a little bit of healing out of it. Unfortunately. Oh, Grenshield just barely surviving that too. That would have been the one little break that MeowSensei could have used there, as if that was a double kill. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, no one being guarded right now is Meow's biggest problem, because this lost him goes down, and then, once again, just like last game, he has to contend with Oboro with no anti-Oboro weapons. I mean, in a few turns, he'll have his own Oboro. Yeah, Sui, it's a shame to see how a couple little mistakes like that can, like, instantly cost you the game at the start of the game. I honestly think, like, for as hilarious as not transforming Oboro was, a bigger mistake was plopping Hilda right up front between these two pillars with absolutely no space or ability to get her out of the way of that shield once the Grand Shield went down. Just utterly useless stuck in here. Yeah, Loomis, you're right. I mean, even if Grenshield hadn't picked up that Tenyo, it was only a matter of the next turn moving in and doing basically the same thing. Lucretia can't reach anything. No Golem, can't be pulled forward, can't teleport and act again. Oboro with no stacks. Hilda's up front here, so that's why SaintJacques can really just disrespectfully chip away at her all he wants now. Yeah, probably not, Loomis. Definitely not needed. I haven't seen enough SaintJacques games to know just how careful and systematic he is. So if he wants to really stick to his game plan, then he's not in a huge rush. Obviously, Meow's under a ton of pressure here already, so it's not exactly like he needs to rush his Oboro in. He may decide just to stick with the game plan, get the 4th stack, and then come in and clean up. Yeah, no rush. No rush for SaintJacques. Especially having already AoE'd and blasted Meow's team down a little bit. I mean, Lucretia securing that kill on Annie certainly would have been nice for Meow. Meow not liking it with another So Dead sticker. At least he's a good sport. Everyone who's playing now, everyone in the top 8 is in the money. So the prize pool is the top 8 players. So everyone we're watching play live from this point on has already won something from this tournament. This is a top 16 match, Straw? Oh no, I made a huge mistake. I thought we were in the top 8 already with this one. Absol, you can't blame me. I just rolled out of bed. It's going to be really easy for me to change the title of this stream and then mute out all the times I said that, though. Only the 50 or so people who are watching this, or 60 or so people, have been negatively impacted by my spreading fake news. Hopefully Meow wasn't one of them, though, because maybe me saying that made him play more lax, thinking he was getting 50 bucks. Too late for that. You gotta win now for your moolah. Okay, so Meow deciding to transform early with his Oboro, knowing that he needs it. He can't get away with waiting another turn. You know, it would have been so nice if he had that third stack on him, if he hadn't messed up on the first turn. So he does get to clean up a couple of kills there, but not the important one. The kill that's going to matter is this Oboro. SaintJacques' Oboro is going to be able to easily kill Meow's Oboro, and then he does have a Liana here so that he can keep it topped up nicely. So this Lucretia alone with Frost Strike, Hurt, and no Golem is going to have to one-shot this Oboro. And it looks like neither player thinks that's going to happen. Alright, and that is going to be it. So it looks like SaintJacques wins 2-0 versus MeowSensei to move into what I'm being told by the tournament organizer, so he's probably right. Is SaintJacques moving into the top 8 now. Yes, that's what I meant. Moving into the top 8 to face Maebari. And MeowSensei eliminated in apparently the top 16. Came really far again. MeowSensei is always a fun player to watch in these tournaments, so thank you, Meow, again for coming out and giving us some entertaining matches. Wish we got to see a little bit more Omega, but what have you. What have you. Congratulations to SaintJacques for moving on. And we will see you in action again against Maebari in the next round. So before I go, let me just double check the tournament schedule, since I like to do this while the stream is still on. Stream schedule, where are you? Later on today, in about 8 hours, we will have Demon Slayer Muzan versus Sohaib Molik. And then tomorrow is going to be Demon King Anus versus Tomato, and that is going to be another morning stream. It looks like Sui is going to be streaming that one. This evening, I'm not 100% sure who's streaming the Demon Slayer Sohaib match. It may end up being me, for all I know. So those are the remaining matches on the schedule for this round. And then the top 8 matches will be scheduled, I imagine, on Monday. So stay tuned for those. Definitely join the Summit der Langrisser Discord server if you haven't already. I imagine everyone in the chat has already. But that's the easiest place to see all of the... Straw has them all organized really nicely in a schedule. So you can basically just get a snapshot view of the week and see who's going to be playing when. And that will make it really easy for you to schedule some time to come out to streams and see these players playing live. So thanks for watching my stream. I'll catch you in the next one, and happy Langrissing, everyone.